if you want to level up, you have to do it. Never go backwards with tax planning. It's always too late. You have to do it far in advance.
Welcome back. Today with that'll go in the bloopers. Welcome back. Today we're here with Lewis. Say hello. We're just dropping in with a quick pod. You've just come back from Vietnam.
Vietnam, that's right. Yeah, so I've been in Vietnam for a month after being in Bangkok for 4 months. Fly and visit. I leave tomorrow. Back to Vietnam.
Nice.
So yeah.
Just popping in and out, seeing the scenery. But you mentioned that when you landed back, you were like, yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, I landed and instantly I was like, yeah, this is the place. The atmosphere, the vibes. There's just a buzz about the place that, you know, it's literally as soon as I landed, I was like, wow. It makes you realise just the energy of the place is just...
Yeah, especially when you've left and you come back, you've got that newfound appreciation for it. But you were in Bangkok for how long before you left for Vietnam?
3.5 months to 4 months in Bangkok. Lived there 3.5, 4 months. Went to Vietnam. Was only meant to be for a couple of days. I ended up staying there for a month.
Nice.
Mainly for fitness, to be honest. Because I like to go for runs, and I found in Bangkok that was the only downside for me is trying to run outdoors.
Yeah, city running's a bit tough out here. The best place to go is to the parks, but then it's sort of like you're getting transport to and from your run. It's it doesn't feel natural.
And when you're doing the longer distance runs, which I like to do, there's only so many laps of Lumpini Park or Benchikitty Park you can actually do. So that was the main reason I left, to be honest, was literally just to start running.
Nice.
But yeah, as soon as I come back, I was like, yeah, this is the place.
Because you've done an ultra, right? Or
Done 2 ultra marathons,
two
yes.
ultras.
1 in Thailand, 1 in the UK, and I've got one on Saturday in Vietnam, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Straight back into
it, yeah.
Have you done any training here yet?
No, not yet, no. So I've just been literally big meetings, networking, and land back in Vietnam tomorrow, and then
full ball.
Day after, straight back into an ultra marathon.
That's it. You'll find out who you are after that, tell you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so fitness, you're getting around. I've never actually been to Vietnam, so just for anyone watching and myself as well, what's the difference between Bangkok and Vietnam, and how does the atmosphere, like you mentioned, change?
So in Vietnam, I'm in a place called Da Nang, which is like a very small coastal seaside town. It's still got all the amenities that Bangkok has got. Like you've got your, like your luxury rooftop bars, your pools, and all that sort of stuff. But it's a lot more quiet and a lot more relaxed. And the people there is more... tends to be either people who are sort of on a bit of a budget, and because it's such a cheap place to live. So the people you've got there, people who are only living there because it's the only place they can afford. Yeah. Or you've got the people who are sort of like semi-retired / just enjoying life. Whereas in Bangkok, you've got people you're hustling, they're networking, they're trying to grow. But in Da Nang, you've got that, but just not as much. If that makes sense.
There's not a big of a wide of a gap between the two.
That's right. Yeah, and it's a lot slower way of life, which I like, but I think depends what stage of life you're in. If you're like up and coming and you want to be pushing and progressing and meeting the right type of people, you can still meet those people in Da Nang. It's just a lot harder. Whereas in Bangkok, everyone is up. From what I've seen, everyone is sort of here for the same reason. In our circle of people anyway, I would say. Yeah,
definitely, because like anywhere in Southeast Asia and the rest of the world as a whole, really, you've got that sort of holiday maker, which you get a lot on the islands. And then you've got people who come to the city who are just trying to budget it out, which isn't a bad thing if it's a change of life and that's the way you're going. And then you've got sort of people who are here to, like myself and yourself, and people who are sort of in networks and all that sort of stuff. They're here for a sole reason to sort of blow up and grow. And there's nothing wrong with actually wanting to blow up. I think there's a bit of a stigma with that as well. It's like, oh, you're trying to be famous. It's like, no, not famous, but I just don't like working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got different levels, like you were saying, of sort of drive and also the speed of life. You can live very fast and slow here too.
That's right.
And you can spend as little or as much as you want. People that have this fallacy that it's like really cheap here.
Bangkok. It's definitely not cheap in Bangkok.
It's not particularly cheap.
It's not.
And you can spend as much as you really want, but So looking forward, then you've been to Vietnam. You come back to Bangkok, and you're going again. Where would you see yourself in a couple of years' time? Would you see yourself still in Da Nang, or would you like to do a little bit more of Asia, or would you go back to Europe? Or
so I think I'm going back to Vietnam purely just to sort of lock back in, have a bit of get my head down for a couple of months, get back into fitness, start scaling the business. Just for a 3 month, I've got a 3-month contract on my accommodation, so that's what I'm going to do. Long term, then I think maybe not Asia, maybe Dubai, Middle East, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of used in Asia as like a springboard, really, because as you know, the cost of living can be very cheap, but not as cheap as everyone makes out. But you can get a very good quality of life for a fraction of the cost. For this same standard of life, say in Dubai, for example, you're probably looking 10k a month, I would say, for what the lifestyle we're living right now. So I think the long-term play is Dubai, something like that. But for now, it's going to be Vietnam, maybe back to Bangkok after that. But it's definitely not going to be back in the UK.
No,
that's for sure.
Not shooting to the UK anytime soon. I mean, it's all changing. It's all changing over there, and it has been for the last. It's always changing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But it seems like there's a great shift going on at the minute, and that's another subject in itself. But yeah, I mean, I can see future in Dubai as well, just because of the culture. I'm not a Muslim, but the values in which they live by and the strictness I like. One thing you do have about Bangkok, and this is it's just a fact, is there is a lot of sort of distraction.
Yes.
And obviously there's still distraction in Dubai, but it's not as in your face, and you can go about your daily life without being hassled. And that's one thing that sort of puts me off a little bit about being here long term is the sort of uncleanliness, shall we say. So yeah, I mean that's one thing, and then you've also got a networking side of things, and there's so much growth going on in the Middle East, and it's more central, right? It's so much closer to sort of southern Europe. Would you want to live in Dubai City, or would you like to live sort of further out in sort of a smaller area, or have you thought about that?
I think Dubai for me, because I spent quite a lot of time there actually, because my uncle used to live in Dubai, so I used to visit him quite a lot. And it's a similar sort of vibe to Bangkok. Like as you know, you arrive and the buzz around the place is just insane. And yeah, it's just the people you meet, the buzz of the place, and I don't drink either. So I mean, as you said about the distractions in Bangkok, you've got all that sort of nightlife and party scene, which you do have in Dubai, but it's a lot easier to sort of avoid that, I would say. Whereas
it's segregated.
That's right. Yeah. In Bangkok, it's all pretty in your face. You're walking down the street, and it's just like, it's.
Even in the middle of the day, you can get sort of, the temptations are there, but you've got to have something to fuel this passion, right, and this dream and the travelling. So, what are you doing in your own time to sort of? You mentioned scaling up. What do you do for, if you want to tell?
So I run my own accountancy and tax advisory firm. The niche that I work in is I specialise in people like me and you who leave the UK or leave the West, move overseas, because it's not only the lifestyle people move overseas for, it's to obviously cut their taxes.
Yeah.
And if done correctly, you can structure affairs, you're paying 0% tax. If done correctly. So that is my sort of area that I specialise in, is digital.
And by the book as well. That's
right, all completely legal. It's not all, nothing illegal. I'm a fully chartered accountant, tax advisor. I've been through the struggle of the exams, climbing the corporate ladder and all that. And
you learn stuff from that, right? You've learnt the tricks of the trade, but then you realise there's an opportunity here. A lot of guys will leave the hometown, as you know, they'll leave the hometown or come to Southeast Asia, and there's one side who will just like thug it out and just pray and hope that they don't get found out, and then there's a side that want to do it properly, and they both need you.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's a serious amount of like people coming out here all the time that need to be doing things right, and I've always said this to people, it's like there's no point trying to dodge it, mate, because at one point you're going to get you're going to get stitched. You've got to do things by the book. You've got to do things right, even if it means making a little bit less. But if it's done right and ethically, then you don't even have to take that much of a hit. So yeah, I mean, that's the main thing as well. If you're thinking about coming out and starting an online business, you need to be doing things right, because there's no point living this lifestyle and having the high life to then get in a few years' time it all taken away from you.
That's right, and like a lot of people have this misconception they can just move to Asia, move to Thailand, and just do nothing and pay no tax. I mean, it doesn't work like that. I mean, you could try and chance it, but the chances are it'll catch up with you eventually. Yeah. And it's it's a small investment to get your tax affairs structured correctly. But I mean, the money you save in the long term is astronomical. It's an absolute no-brainer. And you don't want any tax authorities coming after you, HMRC or whatever country you're in, because I've seen it happen where I've had clients who have moved overseas and just completely forgot, like, put their head in the sand and think I don't need to do anything, and literally something as little as spending 1 day too long in the UK can mean you're liable to tax on all that income. So I've had it with one client where he had a tax bill of like £50,000 just because he spent like 3 or 4 days too long in the UK. Whereas if you just plan ahead and get things in place, you can avoid that pretty easily.
And that's just one side of this online stuff, right? There's all different areas where people need to be educated.
That's right.
And there's a massive market for it, and it's all about doing things right first time, and you'll know people will come to you like they need that problem solving, and once they come to you, it's like they don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's done, and like I said, don't chance it, because it's just not worth it.
I've seen it happen more times than you could imagine, and it's just like I always shake my head and think, why don't you just do things properly and just get the correct things in place? But
most of it is just poor education and naivety, really.
That's because poor education, you're not really taught it in the UK or schools, and they think I can just ignore it and it'll go away. But then when you start to scale and make real money, it's all, you can never go backwards with tax planning. It's always too late. You have to do it far in advance. Again, that comes with just poor education, and I think it is a bit of naivety, because a lot of people move out here with a dream that I'm going to make, say, £10,000 a month. Yeah. But when they're actually moving here, a lot of people are not actually making anything at all. So when they start making those figures, I think a lot of people don't actually think they're going to make the money that they actually do. So then going backwards, it just never works.
No, and a lot of people, there's people online that will say, just don't bother, there's no point paying, it's the government's corrupt and all this sort of stuff, depending on where you're from. But it's like, no, you need to work it out properly, and that's one of the reasons why Dubai is on the cards as well, because you don't actually mind paying a little bit there, because it actually goes towards things.
I think what you said is completely right there, because, for example, the UAE, you pay 9% corporate tax on profits over a certain amount, but when you're actually living in the UAE and you can see the quality of life you get in, the roads, the infrastructure, what the country actually stands for, me personally, I wouldn't mind paying 9% to get all of that in return. Whereas when you're living in the UK, sometimes you're paying up to 50% in tax, and you think, what you actually getting in return? I mean, you got bad quality of life, bad infrastructure. It's just,
you should have exemplary. Everything should be exemplary. If you're giving away literally half of everything,
that's right. Yeah,
it should be the best. But there's many different multifacets to the reason why it's not the way it should be, and that's something that even I'm not capable of explaining. But at the end of the day, it's you can choose now. Nowadays, you can choose where you want to play the game. So why not play it in the best place possible? The best place to start, I'd say, so far in my experience, and what you've experienced as well, and other guys in a similar space, is Bangkok is a great place to begin, just because of the networking. The cost of living is, on par with the West if you're on this lifestyle.
I would say.
But the service that you get back is much higher. The weather's great. and yeah, there's just a lot. You feel a lot more welcome even in a country where it's not your own. So I think those 5 things are a great sort of reason why you can come here, but to scale and be long term and be permanent, the Middle East and probably Southern Europe is a nice combination.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Bangkok serves a purpose, and like you said, I mean, there's a few points there. The networking in Bangkok is the main thing. But it's really not as cheap as everyone makes out to be. You know, you can still live a very good life here, but you know, you see all these videos online, live in Bangkok for $1,000 a month. There's absolutely no chance. And most accommodations, pretty much that price now.
Yeah, for a decent quality place, you're looking at $1,000 a month. And if you go, I mean, eating out here isn't too expensive, but if you're going for steak dinners and you're going out for Western style food, you're going to be spending at least $500 minimum on just going out to eat, and then you've got all the other stuff on top. You know, your unexpected things like, you know, when you go to your accommodation, you need to buy towels, mate. These unexpected costs, they all come in. So
I mean, you can live here very cheap. Very cheaply. But I mean, I'm a firm believer in you're a product of your environment, and if you're going to live in a place like Thailand and you're counting your pennies and you're living off, say, like street food and staying in hostels, I mean, I think naturally you're just not going to progress and scale and do as well as you would if you know, you elevate your life and your lifestyle, and naturally you rise to those standards. So I think if you live in a backpacker's lifestyle, which you can do on $1,000 a month if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
I think personally, if you're serious about growing and scaling and networking, you need to elevate all areas of your life. So I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean,
correct. Yeah, I believe the same thing as well. I gave myself a time limit basically with the money that I had left, and I chose to have shorter time, but to be more intense and at a higher grade, because, like you say, you put yourself around the right people. You put yourself in nicer situations. You have access to different things. People take you more seriously when you come in dressed well and you're not smelling the street food.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, all these sorts of things, and you can actually bring people over and, you know, be in a good location. All of these things add up. It's not the be all and end all, but it will make your life a lot more enjoyable. You wake up in a higher state because it's like, yeah, I've got this, I have access to that, and it makes things a lot easier. So,
just touching on that, just to further confirm that, like for example, in Bangkok, I'm here for 4 days and I booked the St. Regis, which is pretty high end, and just instantly the environment, just like you said, you wake up and you just, your mindset is completely different. You know, waking up to staying in somewhere which is probably a bit out of your norm, I should say. You know, you've got like a 24-hour butler service. It's just being around that environment naturally thinks, this is what I want.
Yeah.
So this naturally you're going to elevate towards that. Whereas if you're staying in crap rubbish accommodation, you're going to fall lower your standards to that. But whereas when you're staying in nicer places, going to the nicer restaurants, meeting you know, the well-connected people, naturally that's what you rise to. And
I've heard people say who fly first and business frequently. They say that some of the best work that they have is on those flights. One, because they've got no self-service, so they're not getting contacted, and also because they're in this environment that makes them feel how they want to be, how they want to live. So if you're giving yourself that, not at that level, but if you're consistently giving yourself a higher grade of life, you're going to have better creative thoughts. You're going to be in a happier state. You're going to be in a nicer environment. You're going to be able to sort of contact and be in the same. I think the important thing is the networking side as well. Is when I first landed in Bangkok, I decided to book into a decent hotel as well, and he may be watching this. I bumped into a lad from America, and he's doing his own music career, and he's, you know, growing, and he's doing his own stuff. And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have. We wouldn't have met. That's right. And all that sort of stuff. So you have conversations with people who have already done what you want to do, and they're sort of they can offer you even just a sentence can change your life. I definitely believe that. So there's so many different benefits to elevating your time, and that's one of the reasons why I want to also go to Dubai, is because that the standard there is even
higher. For sure. Yeah.
And the people that you rub shoulders with just on a day-to-day basis, you know, it's not all about money, but it's an important factor, right?
People, it is.
It's definitely an important factor, and the money is a token for you to live the way that you want to live. And even if it's for a short term, and you realise this actually isn't for me, and I want this lifestyle back, and I think it's important to try things early to make you realise whether you actually do like it or not, versus waiting for 10, 15 years trying to get to somewhere, and then you get there and you don't like it. Maybe you just do a trial phase of 3 months and just blast through it, and then you come home and you're like, actually, I don't mind actually working for someone else, and I actually enjoy doing this. Or you go, oh, I'm so glad I did this now and I didn't wait. So you find a lot about yourself through coming to places like this, and it's frequent that guys come on their own, right?
For sure.
People leave home. I left home on my own. I've always been quite independent as a person, but you come here and you learn about yourself, you learn about how you discipline, you learn about how you react to like being on your own. It's important to be comfortable in your own skin.
Yes, agreed.
And also it forces you to make connections. And one of the things that I've benefited from was being inside of a network that allowed me to already have connections here before I landed. That was a very important thing for my immediate success, because on the second day I landed, and then on the second day I was already like having a meet up with
the yacht party, wasn't it?
So it's like you're already straight in, you've already got a community before you landed, so it's not like you come into the other side of the world on your own. So that was one of the things that you tell your parents, like, I'm going to Thailand, and they're like, no, don't go. It's there's already 10 or 15 guys and they're already doing what I want to do. It's fine. They're like, are you sure? It's like, just let me show you. So that's another thing. It settles the mind. You've got a bit of a support network. Because coming to a place like this as well, if you don't know anyone, I can imagine it can be quite daunting.
Yeah, well, because when I arrived in Thailand, I wasn't part of any network, so I was literally completely on my own. And I would say the first month I didn't struggle, but I didn't enjoy it, and I found it hard to meet the right people, because Bangkok is such a big place, and unless you have that network, you sort of have to go looking for the people. 'Cause, as you know, it's so big. But just being in part of networks and the right circles is so much easier. And like you said, you're rubbing shoulders with people who are doing things that you want to be doing, or just naturally they're holding you to a higher standard. And just on what you were saying, like, you tell people you're moving to Thailand or the Middle East, and they all think, oh, you're crazy, but they don't actually understand this. I think, in my opinion, leaving your hometown is, if you want to level up, you have to do it. I think so, because, for example, in my hometown, I always thought, £2,500, you think, oh, that's a really good monthly salary. When you're meeting people who are in Bangkok who are doing like £20,000 a month, and that's just like the norm.
They wouldn't even get out of bed for 2k a month.
That's right, and you think it back in where I used to live, that was not far off my monthly salary, and I was a chartered accountant, which is meant to be, one of the top jobs, and a lot of these guys you meet in Bangkok, they wouldn't even get out of bed for probably £2,000 a day.
There's some people here that sort of get to that point where it's like, my time's so valuable, why would I even do that? And also, they hold themselves, like you said, to a higher standard.
That's right,
and they guard their time, which is a habit that a lot of people don't have the privilege to do, because they do have to subscribe and they do have to be at a place for a certain amount of time and spend their strongest mental hours working on someone else's goal.
That's right.
And that's the thing, is if you leave your hometown and you cut all ties and you've got a little bit of a wallet to keep you going for a short time, then you can put all of your waking hours and your highest frequency into something that you want to do. And over a short period of time, you can see a lot of success with the right network and the right people around you, and the right intentions as well. But you've got to do a bit of planning beforehand. I did luckily found a lot of information about where I wanted to go and where to be in the best places through that network too. So, sort of going off onto a different topic, then I'm just going to pull something out of the sky.
Come on.
going back to the UK then, like sort of where you're from, and you know, what was your lifestyle like? Where did you grow up, and what did you want to be when you were older?
Yes, I grew up in South Wales, in between Cardiff and Swansea, up in the Welsh valleys. I'm not going to say the town because you're probably not going to know it, but I just say between Cardiff and Swansea because it's easier. Not many people know the Welsh towns.
Near Brecon, near that sort of area.
Sort of, not really, but that's sort of up that sort of. So I grew up in this really small Welsh village. Sort of everyone knows everyone sort of thing. It's probably not for the best. You know, most people have. Well, you know, it's like small towns. Everyone knows everyone's business, and it's just like a lot of people are working either like labour jobs, factory jobs, all that sort of stuff. Not much drive and not much career opportunities there really.
A lot of judgment. Yeah,
that's right. So I went to university there, studied accounting and finance, and then I moved to Cheltenham for my 9-to-5 job, which was chartered accountancy, just because there were literally no opportunities at all where I'm from. I always wanted to sort of travel and be in business, and for me, the way out I thought was, you know, get a skill which is high in demand, which is accountancy and tax services. Took me a long time to get, so it was 8 years in total of exams and study and all that sort of stuff. But it was always in the back of my mind that let's work that 9-to-5, let's get those qualifications, and as soon as I got, you know, the chartered accountancy qualifications, that is when I then left the UK, because I sort of knew I had something that I could sell to clients and go on my own then. There was always business and travel. I'd say it's probably not my passion, but I think when you're first starting out, you need to make the money, and you need to get the money in. And people say follow your passion. I don't know if that's strictly true, because at the end of the day, your passion might not make you money, and you need money to survive. I think when you got the money, maybe then you can follow your passion. But when you're first starting out, it's all just about building money, building reputation, building reserves, and I mean, following your passion. I think I don't know if that's a way to sort of make a lot of money. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. That's just what I think.
In certain cases, maybe to add to that, I'd probably say people expect to be happy too much. I think people need to sort of realise that in the beginning, when you're building, it's not going to be fun all the time.
No, it's not.
You're going to have to put some hard hours in. You're going to have to do things that you don't particularly want to do. You're going to have to build up skills which every day you dread doing, like picking up the phone or going and meeting new people or going knocking on that door, depending on which area you're in. But like you said, you went through the hard times. You did the 8 years. You pulled yourself out of your hometown, you went somewhere with a bit of better opportunity, and then when you got to the point where you'd built those skills up, you were like, right, we need to get out of here. So, I mean, the opportunities are there, you've just got to put yourself in the right position to take them on, and also be in the confidence state to go and chase them as well. So yeah, I mean, it's the origin story, you know, that's your history, right? Have you got that on camera anywhere, like a one-to-one thing? Have you told your story before?
I haven't, no.
Because that'd be good. It'd be good to show people, look, this is possible, and that's one of the things that I like to do, is inspire people, and hopefully I've started to already. Is inspire people to do the things that do inspire them, because I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have the dream of enjoying it, but it's not going to be sunshine and roses. And also a side point to that is not everything you see, you don't see everything online as well.
For sure, yeah.
So
for sure.
People will show you what they want you to see, but I try and keep it fairly entertaining, but also reality as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's a balance there, but you've got to appeal to the masses, but also give some value as well. So yeah, you've well, we both made the big jump, and it's a change of life. And even if I've told myself before I came here, and I don't think this is going to happen anymore, but even if I got here and I didn't enjoy it, and I got to the point where I was like, nah, this isn't going to work, or I don't think this is the right time, at least we tried.
Yeah, that's right.
You gave it the shot now, rather than waiting for it to fester, and then you potentially just wasting your years on something.
Well, that's the thing. We're young. When you think about it, what's the worst thing that can happen? You just book a flight home. You go straight back into a job that you probably didn't enjoy anyway. I mean, now is the time to take risks. I think we're young. We'll never be this young again.
Yeah.
Not many responsibilities. No family, no wife. I don't think you've got a wife anyway. No kids. It's just a perfect time, really. And like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. The worst that can happen is you get a bit of judgment when you go back home. People ask you a few questions for a week or so, and then you're back in the game.
Just on that, sorry to interrupt. Like you said about people judging, I remember when I first started posting on social media, I did get a few sort of passive aggressive comments from people back home, but those same people have slowly started to shift. Now I've been posting more, and they can see that, oh, hold on, he's been out there for say 6 or 7 months now, so they can see it's not just, I'm not going there for a holiday.
Yeah.
They're actually the same people who sort of were giving me passive aggressive comments and now sort of congratulating me, sort of thing, which is sort of funny to me, really, because it's just
take the praise, but just realise the angle, the full story, the backstory, and people will come around. People are quick to judge, and even ourselves. Humans are just judges. Like from the get-go, we just judge every day. It's the moment you look at someone's face the first time, you're going to judge them instantly. Like you're just going to make instant assumptions of how they are, what they're like as a person, whether that's their ethnic background, the way they talk, the clothes that they're wearing. But it's pattern recognition, right? People are judges. So you've got to be conscious of your own monkey brain, that you are going to judge people as well, and also that people are judging you, but it's just instinct.
Yeah.
And it may also be because you're holding up the mirror to their lifestyle and you're showing them their inadequacies.
Yeah.
And they might not be able to see yours. So it's like a double-edged sword, because you're trying to give help, but then you're also showing people where they need help as well. So they're like, I don't like this, so I'm going to comment something bad.
Yeah.
But if you're getting bad comments, overall, you're actually just showing that you're doing something.
Yeah.
You can't get bad comments if you don't do anything. So, I mean, as well, you've got thick skin. You'd be able to take it on board. But for people out there, if you're making content, it's like you're going to get bad comments. Accept the fact. Accept the fact that you're going to wind people up because you're doing things that they aren't. But at the same time, you're going to reach a lot of people who aren't going to comment, who actually feel like it helps.
Yeah,
and
sure.
In the beginning, it's helpful, or it's important to just keep going, even though you might not see the positive stuff. And you're going to have a core network of die-hard fans, and those are the people that you really appreciate. But at the same time, you're going to have people who are stood on the sidelines, sort of like, oh, that's pretty cool, but they don't actually say anything. So just keep going for those guys, and just keep it rolling. Especially that's more on the content side of things, but that'll be people from your hometown. They actually want you to do well, but at the same time, they're like, oh, I wish I was doing it too.
Yeah. So just on that, there's 2 points to it. The first one, the first bit of hate you always get is always quite funny. I've started getting some random accounts, and at the start I was like, oh my god, I took it to heart. But then the more you get, the more you just start to laugh. And like you said, it's often a reflection of themselves, because people who are taking the time out of the day to send random hate messages, it says more about them than it does about you. They're obviously not happy with themselves, so you just have to sort of take it with a pinch of salt. When you're putting yourself out there, it's expected to get people giving you comments, and it's like you said, it's mainly because you're doing what they want to be doing. But it's always funny. I've had a couple of comments lately, but it's all part of the game. But then the other side, the people you do meet and the people you do interact with, and the people who do support you, I think it's a good trade-off, in my opinion. We would never have met each other if it wasn't for social media, and the whole network in Bangkok. Everyone is really supportive, which is, you meet people and you know them for a few months, and they're more supportive of you than people you've known all your life in your hometown.
And you're in it together, right? You're sort of banded together by the uncertainty of the world.
I think now that's probably why, actually, because everyone in Bangkok who has left their hometown sort of understand the risks that you actually take to move here, whereas it's easy for someone back home just to not fully appreciate. Like, I think when you actually think about it, what you actually do when you book a one-way flight with one suitcase or one bag, it actually is pretty, not risky, but it is a big move, which I think for me it wasn't that big of a deal, and for you it probably wasn't, but for a lot of people it is still quite a big move, I think.
Yeah. I think you don't fully realise the move that you're making when you make it.
That's right.
I knew that I was making a massive jump, but at the same time, people would be like, "Well, I don't know how you've done that." Like, I don't know what, like, fair play to you for that. But it's like, it just seems like the right decision. Like, it's just the right choice now to make. And yeah, you can't do it if you've got so many ties, right? You can't do it if you've got a relationship and a kid and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot harder to do. But if you're sort of this free spirit, and all you need to do is just like speak to people and let them know what you're doing, and things will sort of you can cleanly break the bonds. Then that's the best way to do it, I think. But it is definitely bonded by uncertainty and making friendship through pain. That's like why army platoons get so close, because they're literally going through hell together.
That's right.
And you get a similar thing. It's like the real recognise real when things are tough. They can come together. So I think that's another important, going back to mention it a lot, but it is an important part of my life. Is the network. Is you're sort of in it together, and you've got sort of not a crutch, but you've got a backup plan. If shit goes wrong, you can call your mate, and he understands where you're at. But that also goes back to, like, going on a bit of a tangent here. That also goes back to like the people at home. They, as much as the guys out here will understand you, the people back home won't.
No, that's for
because
sure.
They haven't seen what you've seen. They haven't watched what you've watched, and maybe it's a bit of blind influence and sort of like a little bit of brainwashing. But I think you've got to be a little bit deluded and a bit kooky in the head to do this sort of stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
But if you do it right and you do you're actually doing good things for people. You're helping out and you're actually making a positive impact. You're not scamming people. There's a good life to be had.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And just on what you said about, like, people understanding you. Like, I always remember when I was in my hometown, you'd see, like, before I left the UK, you'd see someone on social media posting content, and you'd think, oh, they've got such an easy life, just posting reels. But it actually takes a lot of time, and it actually is time consuming. It's a lot harder than people think. And little things like, when you see people putting themselves out there, I don't care who it is, I'll always, like, support them and comment and, try and boost them up. But whereas, probably if I was still in my hometown, I probably didn't used to do that, just because you don't understand. Like, for example, just posting a simple video or going out and filming yourself in public. That is still a big deal, to be out there in public filming yourself and talking. Like, it takes a lot of courage, I would say, to do that. And the fact that people are trying to do something with themselves, you'll always support them, and that's where I think a lot of people like us, that's what we all recognise, that it's not as easy as everyone thinks. Yeah,
the more you do it, the easier it gets, but it is definitely still a big change from, like, the judgment back home. You sort of have to just forget all that and just do your own thing and sort of just focus on yourself, be a little bit selfish, and in terms of, like, putting yourself as a priority. Don't really care about what other people think. Do good things along the way, help people out. Just try and learn every day, because as much as we know now, there's a mountain of stuff we still have got to learn.
Sure. We've got so much more to learn and to do. Like, we are small fish in reality. In Bangkok, small fish. But, like, imagine going to the UAE or whatever. It's the next level again. But that goes back to just forcing yourself to level up and being around those people naturally. You rise to those standards.
That's the fun of being, I'd say, a man, because what I am. I don't know about being a lady, but that's the fun of being a man. There's the opportunity to learn. There's the opportunity to grow. You're in this position where it's like infinitely scalable if you put the right things in. Especially if you got a good start, make the most of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, people get quite pent up, and people get quite in their own head about sort of who they are and what the opportunities they've been given. But no matter where you start, there is an opportunity to improve. If you're at the bottom right now, it's only up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And if you already got some stuff going for you, capitalise on it. Use it to your advantage. Make it easier for others, and actually give back. And I think that's the main sort of goal, is to give, and then if we receive, then it's great.
Just on that point of giving, so we're going off on a tangent here, but I met someone in the last marathon that I did in northern Vietnam, and one of the things he said to me, he just said, just give with no expectations, and the universe will always reward you. And I thought, that sounds a bit of a load of rubbish, but whatever. So I was like, I'll try it. So since after that marathon, I went back to Vietnam. For those next few days, I was just giving not just splashing the cash, but when it felt right, I was just tipping heavily. Random people in the street, giving them money, giving clothes, buying them food, and you just giving with no expectations. You just feel so much better. And I honestly, that's probably the best I've felt in a long time. Just helping people and giving people. And because of this, again, this might sound a bit crazy to you or other people, but because that week I was giving and sort of giving away so much good energy and doing good, that night I left my phone in the taxi, in the Grab. So I was in Vietnam at 1 o'clock in the morning. My phone was left in the taxi. I was like, right, I'm stuck here. But I wasn't even panicking, because I just knew that because I'd given away and done so much good that week, I knew that it was going to come back to me. And then literally rightly so, the taxi driver come back 45 minutes later and just handed me my phone, which just because I knew, maybe I've done so much good, it's about time that something comes back to me. And maybe it was luck, I don't know, but I just knew that the guy was going to come back and give me my phone, and he did, which was crazy. I mean, if you left your phone in a taxi in the UK, you're not seeing that again. No. No chance. You come back, and I tried giving him money, and he wouldn't accept anything. But just the fact that, you do good and be good, and you'll get rewarded. Yeah,
it's a very high vibration to be in when you're giving.
Yeah, it is.
You can't be, because it makes you grateful, it makes them grateful.
That's right, yeah.
You literally bringing people up with, and if you're Westerner and you make a Western living, then the amount of money is to you is nothing, but to them it's a deal.
That's right. Even in Vietnam, with the currency is even weaker. I mean, you can give someone like $5 to $10, which to us is nothing, but to them that's like a daily wage. And you make someone's day or week just from giving them a piece of paper, which is crazy. Really, it makes you realise how lucky we actually are to be in a position to do that.
Yeah, it's it feels great to give, and especially when you say giving without intention of receiving, because then it's just you I think it's living abundantly.
That's right, exactly that
is the term, is you got to live abundantly and sort of give.
Because if you're clinging on to your money and possessions all the time, naturally money's not going to flow to you. If you're giving away in just abundance mindset, there's unlimited money in the world. I mean, clinging on to it is not going to make you rich, or not going to make you wealthy. Yeah,
you've got to be willing to give it away, and that also transfers into things like learning as well. In the area that we're in, is you're basically you're giving money to people to learn what they've learned quickly. Like you're speed running their experience. It's like buying a book. On the cheap end is basically you're paying for someone's biography. You're getting all their life experience. The most important thing is they're only going to put the good stuff in the book. You're literally paying $10 for someone's life experience.
Yeah, that's right.
And then on the other side of it, like in this online space, is you can pay for one-to-one mentorship with people or networks or coaching on things that they've learned at the upper echelon, the places where you want to be. So investment I think it's an investment as well, in sort of like your own knowledge, and there's always room to learn. Being abundant, just bringing it all round to a close. It's put yourself in the right environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure you do things properly first time with the tax and other things. Set yourself up for success. Don't give your future self a hard time. All these sorts of things are the importance of getting out here, and I'd say Bangkok's a great place to be, and I'd say you'd agree as well.
I definitely agree. Yeah, Bangkok. Yeah, Bangkok for me is the place. I think
we're selling it. We're selling Bangkok.
Come to Bangkok. It's not as cheap as everyone makes out. That's for sure.
Thailand propaganda, right? Thailand propaganda, but it's been cool talking. We've sort of flipped the camera on with no real sort of script and just having a chat. And
you literally said, we've got no idea what we're going to say. We're just going to run with it. But sometimes that's the best. You know, you don't want to pre-plan everything. It feels forced. And
So if you've enjoyed watching, drop a like, a little comment if you agree, and if you don't agree, tell me why. And then subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. We've got vlogs, we've got conversations, and we've got a bit of value dropping as well soon. Follow the Instagram, Nathan Pickstone. And what's your socials for the people watching?
So at Lewis Slennert. Nathan will tag me below.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description. But I've enjoyed speaking to Lewis this morning. He's going to go and hit up an ultra this weekend, a marathon this weekend.
Ultra marathon.
And
I'll let you know how
interesting stuff. So good luck, brother, and it's been great talking.
Yeah, nice one, brother.